Father Jose Jacob Ungasheri, His Lordship Mark Joseph, Reverend Dr. Jim C. Woodpill, Sri I.G. Joy, Chairman of the Board of Senate Trustees, Sri Biju Francis, other dignitaries on the dais, my dear young students and young youth population from not only India but almost all the countries in the world. I consider as a rare privilege to be here with you this evening, and I'm really thankful to the Holy Apostolic Catholic Assyrian Church of the East for inviting me not only to address you during the inaugural session and also bestowing one of their prestigious awards on me on this occasion. Well, one thing, in fact, I have heard much about this movement earlier. Last maybe about a month, I'm trying to understand what this Assyrian Church is about and how it has evolved and so on. What I understand is it is one of the unique movements which is started in the time of the early days of Christianity in the St. Thomas Apostle when he came around to India, then itself it is nucleated. And again, it is something which has grown in a today highly hostile area of the corner of the Mesopotamia, that is a part of the Iraq now, and how it has evolved during the history. One thing is, yes, a lot of hardships, lot of conquerors, lot of attacks, lot of oppression, but in spite of that, the church maintained its identity, and it is even today having a very large followers in India, in Australia, in Russia, in other parts of the world as well. So this is something which is a very unique example how the perseverance and resilience and hard work can bring good results. So no wonder that they are organizing a youth conference now to inculcate the spirit of adventure, innovation and creativity for the future. So it's a very unique venture, and I first let me compliment the organizers for taking up such a movement. And I wish all success for the movement and formally inaugurate this session. Well, except a few, of course, earlier speakers have highlighted how, because of the uncertainties and turmoil which is going on in the Gulf region, many of the delegates could not come here from your parent organization itself and from other parts of the country or world also. But mostly the Indian youth which I'm seeing in front of me. But if I talk about India and its requirement and the responsibility of the youth, that will applicable to some extent to other parts also. So my speech will be mostly concentrated in the region. I mentioned about this oppression and the type of difficulties an organization has gone through over the history. In Indian history also, we have a parallel. We have the great civilization in the Indus Valley, which was very unique. Perhaps Indus Valley civilization is the oldest human civilization after the last ice age. And after that, the Central Asian region, the Babylon, Mesopotamia and such places together, then again a parallel civilization was existing. But Indian civilization, it was flourishing. It had great achievements in literature, in knowledge, in philosophy, in astronomy, in Ayurveda, in metal forming, in engineering, and almost all the things what you see around today, it was nucleated in the Indus Valley. That is where we have the first metal, copper, bronze, iron. They were smelt and then it was converted into various utilities like a plow and then a dagger, sword and so on. And from there, this technology was taken to the Central Asia and from there to the Europe. That was the type of situation which was existing. But what happened afterwards? In the after 600 AD, you can see a series of invasions took place from the Mughals, from the Europeans, and so on. And the last was the colonization by the British regime, and that continued up to 1947 till we got independence. But this has curbed all the creativity and initiative in this continent. When the Industrial Revolution was taking place in Europe and other parts of the world, I think virtually India was in a dark era. So the oppression and the slavery which we have suffered is the main reason why we have fallen back in terms of the development and the modern technology. But the independent India has seen that we have come back. You can see that our great leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru in the early ages, they have set the stage. They understood the importance of education, having knowledge, and how to use this knowledge for various applications, investing in infrastructure facilities like dams and electric generators and so on, and many factories for the heavy industries. And more than that, research laboratories, which is required for the fundamental scientific subjects. This has borne fruit. Today, we can be proud that India has got technology in some of the key areas like atomic energy, space, or the defense, missiles, etc. We have world-class technology with us. This has come simply because we have our freedom. Our youth were encouraged to work, innovate, and contribute to the process of technology development and through that to the national development. So this is a clear example how the freedom is important for developing the creativity in the people, and we have set the stage for that. Now, as far as India is concerned, today you know that we are the largest youth population in the world. Nearly 300 million people are here below the age of 30, and this is a fantastic resource. Compared to the natural resources what we are having or any other country is having, the youth population is the richest possession of this great country. So how we can use this resource for the betterment of the humankind? That should be the goal before all of you. I said humankind, it is just not limited to the India alone, the entire globe. How the youth can contribute to the development and progress in all fields of human activity right across the globe. That is a big challenge. So the first and foremost, what you need is empowering the youth. How do we empower the youth? That is possible only through knowledge. Yes, I think if you look at the history again,